Have a new co-host for season 2, and it is Gabby Austen-Browne.
Hello, delighted to be here.
Hello. Showing me up, looking so glamorous, but we love to see it.
I love a bit of leather and animal prints, so
You know, yeah.
always when I'm out in the wild.
I'm not going to say anything more on that, but yeah.
I've got to match the theming. I thought there was like these jungle leaves and things like that.
Exactly, you've matched everything. So in terms of who you are,
Yes.
who are you?
Who
For
am
those
I?
that don't know, I know you very well. I see you at lots of industry things, but you know, for anyone that probably hasn't had a chance to get to know you, tell us about yourself.
Okay, no problem. So, still an events professional, but now I am known as the DE&I drum beater for the events and MICE and hospitality industries. So I am founder of Diversity Alliance and co-founder of the Diverse Speaker Bureau, and delivering education, training, consultancy that's really, really specific to the events industry. And that's me.
Diverse Speaker Bureau pretty much does what it says on the tin.
Yes.
We've even used you guys. We're using some of your speakers for our events.
Yeah.
Diversity Alliance,
Yes.
what is that?
What is it? Essentially, myself, facilitators and consultants go into organisations, and there's kind of like a couple of pieces of work, I guess. An education piece to understand why we're making EDI changes within our processes and organisations, and then also really practical steps. So how can we make travel more inclusive? How can we make our events more accessible? So that is really, really specific to the industry, whereas obviously EDI is kind of a huge collective kind of strategy that a lot of organisations are working towards, but Diversity Alliance is about events.
Obviously we're here at Incentives Retreat and there are a lot of incentive planners in the room.
Yeah.
So what would be your kind of like top tips or
Top tips.
places to go in terms of sort of shifting that dial to make incentives a little bit more inclusive?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think there are a few things to be looking at, and I know that actually Site Cover did some top tips about how to be inclusive during an incentive. But I think we also need to be looking at things such as travel. Is the travel and the location getting to the venue and when we're at the incentive actually accessible? Are the locations accessible and inclusive? I mean, I think we saw as well with regards to the World Cup and Qatar, what that meant when, you know, their views around LGBTQ rights were kind of like put out there. I mean, how would you feel maybe as a senior kind of salesperson going to a location that really you're not accepted? I think sometimes we kind of forget of those pieces as well. And as a person of colour, also, you know, sometimes there's some locations that aren't as like forward thinking, shall we say.
So destination choices is
Destination
key.
choices.
Anything
yeah.
about comms or even just like talking to the workforce that maybe are qualifying for that incentive?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I think we all understand and kind of know what being inclusive actually means, or feeling like we're included, getting that sense of belonging, feeling that we're valued, that we're seen and that we're heard. So it's really about putting yourselves in a position or thinking about your own experiences actually and how you would like to receive message and communication around something. And if you're not sure and your job is to communicate this to whoever it is, a company, client or workforce, then to find those people who do have that kind of lived experience to get that message across. I think sometimes we either don't say anything because we're like not sure what to say, or we guess. So I would say that is a key aspect as well.
Well, it's great to have you as my co-host for this
Thank
season
you.
because I'm sure there's going to be lots more nuggets of wisdom that come from you and hopefully
No, there will be.
educate our audience as we go through the next couple of episodes.
I was, and I actually visited Edinburgh. Like I did a bit of Glasgow, then hopped over to Edinburgh. I'm one of those people who does those like city bus tours. I don't know if anybody else does the city bus tours.
It's a good way.
First day, do that. You get to suss everything out, and then find your favourite spots and go back to them. So I did that in Glasgow and then Edinburgh.
Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of your city
I
bus
wasn't on the
tour.
Queen's yacht though, so that looked like an experience.
Yeah, it was bougie. What can I say?
Suits you down to the ground.
Yeah. You even led a workshop, right? What was that about?
Yeah. I mean, talk about starting the year off with a bang. Do you know what I mean? It's like January and I'm like, had so many interesting conversations, ideas, things come up already just over these couple of days. And we led an amazing workshop, and it's just been really interesting finding out what like the challenges are essentially for corporates when it comes to DEI. And there's a real common theme that's been filtering through, which is around that talent pipeline thing. And that wasn't planned, but it's been filtered through all the conversations and the panels and topics that we've been discussing over the couple of days.
What was the common theme?
The talent pipeline.
So in terms of that talent pipeline though, what was is it not being able to fuel it at the top, or is it like not being able to attract it, not being able to retain?
All of it. All of it, retaining, attracting, looking at how we can develop young people. So we had somebody mention apprenticeships and work placements and things like that, how to develop diversity into leadership roles, all those sort of things. So there's so many different aspects of all of this. It's kind of hard to know which one to address first, but they all need to be considered. So it's it's been really interesting hearing people's ideas.
So talk to us about this, because I didn't know this about you, and when we were talking about this episode, you revealed it, and I was like, sorry, what? You're an expert gambler?
No, I'm not an expert gambler, and I'm not going to get into the intricacies of this because it can cause arguments, but I used to play semi-professional poker, so I used to travel around the world playing poker tournaments and poker.
That's so cool. That is like super cool.
It was fun, but it meant I missed out on some of these cool things. Like, I know the food's amazing in Vegas and the shows are like top notch, and I feel kind of bad that I've not experienced that. So next time I go back, I have to look at doing some of these things.
Lots of studies are by, I think the last one was by Harvard, or there is a big one by Harvard Business School, that actually talking to the neurodiverse, you are much more concise, you're much more, they talk in really clear ways, normally. Not for all neurodiversities, again, we're not a monolith, but we need to be concise, clear, and that's good. That's good communication practice across the board, right? To be concise and clear about your messages. So maybe having some neurodiversity within your team would help you, get those messages out in a much more clear and concise way, because that's just how my brain works. I work like this, and also being able to break big topics down into really simple steps. That's also how my brain works. So I'm very good at being able to communicate that back to in layman's terms to other people when it's a complex thing, because my brain naturally has to break it down and compare it to other things in my life. Oh, it's like this, or it's like when I cook, or it's like when I do this with my son, because it's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly add something?
Yeah.
There's a tool out there as well. It's oh, I'm going to remember what it is. It's Ops Nest on Campsite, and basically you can go in, you can put down ideas around accessibility, so whether that is neurodiversity or whether that is visual, hearing impairments, etc., and put down what would be useful for you within a live event to have access to, or for changes to be adapted and made. Yeah. So it's actually a tool where people can go in and upvote and put in ideas, so we can all get an understanding of how we can adapt our events to suit those different kind of accessibility needs. It's really interesting.
And it's whether or not companies are losing their enthusiasm for DEI. So the poll is basically, do you think companies have lost their enthusiasm for DEI? Yes, somewhat, and no. So with you guys in the room, if you think no, put your hands up. If you think somewhat, put your hands up. And if you think yes, put your hands up. So for you at home, I would say it was about 50-50 with no and somewhat. No one said yes, but that's interesting.
Positive.
I mean, there's a lot of somewhats. There was a lot of somewhats.
Be interested to learn more around those somewhats.
Why do you think that maybe organisations are losing the kind of steam behind DEI?
I think because it takes a long time for things to come to fruition, and we kind of want things to happen now. And we're like, well, we're trying to put these things into practice, but we're not seeing the results that we want to see, and so we move on to something else. But it's kind of like planting those seeds, tending that soil, sun, all that stuff before these things come to fruition. So I think we're in it for the long game, and we've just got to commit to it and not be too impatient. Yeah,
it's. I guess the equivalent is when you're losing weight, right? If you're going to the gym, you don't see results immediately. Not you, me. I mean, God, I put on 2 stone during COVID. 2 stone.
I remember.
Savage.
No offence.
No, full offence. I've taken all of the offence. Yeah, and now I'm going to put on another 2 stone because I'm very upset by what you just said. I've lost some of it now, Gabby.
You have. You've definitely lost it. You have.
Some of it, yeah.
No, I said lost it. So I was.
No, but that's usually a slow process, right? People
Yeah.
go to personal trainers and they expect results immediately. They don't get it, and then they can often by January 31st, suddenly their New Year's resolution is out the window because they're not seeing the progress quickly enough, and perhaps that's a problem with organisations and DEI.
Great analogy. Yeah.
Love an analogy, me. So what is the solution to that, in your opinion?
It's to keep plugging away. It is to keep building the awareness, doing the education, coming up with your strategies, and really just keeping the strategies small, really specific to business and business needs currently, and just take your time, step by step, address one thing at a time. You don't have to do everything at once.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I would suggest.
No, I think that's probably what a personal trainer would say as well. Step by step and incremental changes.
Yeah, take a break, rest day. I mean, Malta's always been on my kind of hit list, but because it's quite small but perfectly formed, I was like, I'll save it. But actually I've been really inspired to go along and try things out. And I did love the well-being activity there, Calum. You've always got to fit that in.
I knew you were going to say something about that.
Funny.
I think that's probably the second time I've ever done yoga in my life.
You've got good hamstrings.
Oh!
Good lizard pose.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Shorts a bit tight though.
Yeah, they were swimming trunks, to be fair. They were like,
Lululemon.
everyone else was like, yeah, Lululemon, and I was just like, I've only got trunks and they're a little bit small. And there were some of the poses were very uncomfortable. Guys in the room will be able to relate. Yeah, I had to just stop, halfway through, some sort of cradle baby, downward-facing foxtrot.
Oh, you did a happy baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I also looked around and I was like, these people are so much more flexible than me, and I can't even touch my toes.
You were touching your toes.
Well, apparently my lizard is good. Who knew? There you go. Say nothing. Say nothing. You filth.